At the end of the day, you can point to all the things that you did, but none of it was impactful. We were busy, but not productive. Hi there, Kelsey Toner here, the founder of Guest Focused Tour Business Coaching, where every day myself and our team of incredible tour business mentors are helping you build a thriving, profitable tour business. Welcome back to our series on how to be productive as a tour business owner. Now, as a reminder, this isn't about just cramming more work into your day. It's about getting out of reactive mode and bringing some discipline to your focus, to your energy, and how you manage your time. The reality is the most valuable work in your business requires uninterrupted focus. And a lot of tour operators struggle to ultimately find this space in their calendars. So in this video, we're going to talk to you about why focus can become your competitive advantage. Cal Newport is a computer scientist professor at Georgetown who wrote a book called Deep Work. His core argument is simple. The ability to focus without distraction is becoming increasingly rare and therefore incredibly valuable. He breaks down work into two key categories: shallow work on the left over here and deep work on our right. Shallow work is the small stuff that fills most of our days. Email, Slack, quick replies, scheduling, admin, checking notifications. It's logistical. It doesn't require much cognitive effort, and anyone with a bit of training can ultimately do a lot of it. Deep work is different. It's cognitively demanding. It requires a sustained concentration, and it produces outcomes that actually move your business forward. For tour business owners, deep work could look like business development or finding new distribution channels, or maybe reworking your pricing to figure out, how do I get the margin that I need? Maybe it's building a new system so we can make sure that you're not a bottleneck in your business. A lot of times it's recruiting, training, and hiring, putting together the team that's ultimately going to allow you to move faster, to grow your business at a pace that keeps up with your goals. Put another way, this is the type of work that creates leverage, and it can't be done in 5-minute increments between interruptions. So the trap that Cal Newport calls out is shallow work feels productive. You clear your inbox to 0. It feels good. You respond to 15 messages. Maybe we update a Viator listing. You post on Instagram. At the end of the day, you can point to all the things that you did, but none of it was impactful. We were busy, but not productive. We often default to this type of shallow work because it's easy and safe and there's a minimal risk of failure. Deep work is actually the opposite. It's uncomfortable. The outcome can be uncertain, and we might spend 90 minutes on something and realize that it's not working, and that can feel like failure. So we avoid it. Sometimes creative work can feel like this. We tell ourselves that maybe we'll get to that important stuff once we clear the decks, but as many of us know, those decks never get cleared. There's always another email, another notification, or another small fire. The other concept that Cal Newport studied was this notion of context switching. And it's important if you're thinking about improving your productivity. What's actually happening in your brain when you switch between tasks is quite a bit of cognitive load. Research from Sophie Leroy around the University of Washington found something that she calls attention residue. Essentially, when you switch from task A to task B, part of your attention stays stuck on task A, so our brain doesn't fully transition. So if we check our email in the middle of writing a tour description or respond to that text, we're not just losing the 30 seconds it takes to read and send the message, but you're losing 10 to 15 minutes it takes to get back into that deep focus. That's why a day full of shallow work, according to Cal Newport, leaves you exhausted and oftentimes unsatisfied. We never actually got deep into anything. You're just bouncing between surfaces all day. Cal Newport puts it bluntly. If you're constantly context switching, you're training your brain to be unable to focus. The more you give it distraction, the harder it becomes to concentrate when you need to. So what does he recommend to do instead? How can we create conditions for deep work? Here are 3 recommendations. First, schedule 90-minute focus blocks. This isn't to try and focus for a while. This is a meeting with yourself that you treat as seriously as you would a meeting with a VIP client or a VIP partner. Block it on your calendar, close your email, silence your phone, work on one thing, your most important thing for that full 90 minutes. Why 90 minutes? Well, that's roughly one ultradian cycle, a natural rhythm of high focus your brain can sustain before needing a break. Longer than that, and we can start to get diminishing returns. Secondly, kill notifications. Not just try to ignore them, but actually go into your phone and your devices and turn them off. Every ping, buzz, and banner is someone else's agenda hijacking your attention. During deep work, your phone, in many cases, could be or should be in another room. or at a minimum in do not disturb mode, face down, where it's not going to buzz, it's not going to vibrate, with only emergency contacts allowed through. Most of us check our phones not because something important is happening, but because of habit. Break this habit during your focus blocks. We can also do this by installing things onto our browsers like Chrome or Safari or Firefox, where if we know our habit is to go to Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, whatever it is, when we're sitting down at our laptop or our computer, leverage that technology to not only block out the notifications, but try and break those habits of going to check your messages or going to just watch a quick video. The third recommendation from Cal Newport is productive meditation. This is the term he uses for physical activity to think through a specific problem. Put another way, he's encouraging you to go for a walk and not to listen to a podcast, not to take our phone, but just think about one challenge that you might be trying to solve. Let your mind chew on it without additional input. I must confess, this is something that I'm trying to do, but I'm not great at myself. Steve Jobs famously got some of his best ideas from going on walks, not while being in front of a screen or in a meeting. Our brains do different work when we're not consuming information. Now, many of you may just be nodding along thinking, yeah, I can do that. But there's probably a reason, if you're not doing it already, why this is so difficult. There's some part of our brain that's thinking, well, I run a tour business. I can't just disappear for 90 minutes and really be unreachable. Guests need me, guides need me, things happen. All fair, but let me push back a little bit. How much of what feels urgent is actually urgent? A lot of guest questions can probably wait 90 minutes. Most guide issues could wait an hour. Most emails can definitely wait an hour. The problem is that you've trained everyone, including yourself, to expect instant responses. And that's a pattern, not a necessity. And patterns can be changed. Start small. One 90-minute block 2 or 3 times a week. Early morning works best for most operators before a lot of the day's fires start. And let your team know that you're going to be unavailable during those windows. Give them a way to reach you for true emergencies if that gives you some peace of mind. Be surprised at how few emergencies actually happen. And a protected 90-minute block can produce more progress than an entire distracted day. We've seen it over and over with tour operators that we coach. And we encourage them to leverage their calendars and to make sure that nobody can book a meeting or occupy your time that you've set aside for this type of deep work. So I'll include a link to Cal Newport's book down below where you can read it if you'd like or go find a summary. But how do we turn this into action? Well, first and foremost, this comes down to scheduling at least a 90-minute focus block over the next 7 days. Put it on your calendar, ideally right now. Treat it like an appointment that you can't cancel. Second, before that block starts, decide on the one thing that you'll work on. Not 3 things, one thing. Most important, highest leverage task. And third, during that block, go fully dark. Whether that's phone in another room, do not disturb on your computer, on your phone. If it's in the room, face down, shut off those push notifications, and see what happens when you give something your complete attention. One of my biggest takeaways from deep work was having focus be your competitive advantage. As an entrepreneur, having this ability to tune out distractions, to bring some discipline to your attention, not only serves you in your business life and being more productive, but it's also just a great best practice for spending time with your loved ones and truly being present with your wife, significant other, or kids. If you're interested in more of these productivity best practices, or if you'd like a veteran tour business owner, somebody who's built and scaled a tour and activity business and had to fight off that constant distraction, that fire hose of things that get in the way of this kind of deep work, then we highly recommend booking a free strategy call with one of our Guest Focus coaches. You can do so at guestfocus.com/book a call. We'd love to help you out, and especially if you're struggling with figuring out what those most important tasks are for you and your tour business. Before you go, let me know down below, what are your best practices for doing this type of deep work? Are there anything that you found that is especially effective at keeping your team at bay, or maybe a software or some technology that helps you with the deep work? We'd love to hear your recommendations. If you're getting some value from this series on productivity, it would mean the world to me if you'd share it with a friend or a colleague. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next video.